So as you may have heard, a remake of the 1994 crime action flick The Crow was in the works. In fact, it will be released in June. But if you know anything about the original Crow and the dark events that transpired during the making of the movie, you may understand why this remake is getting tons of backlash, especially from the original creators of the 1994 version. But before we take a deep dive into what exactly happened on the set of the original movie, please be sure to hit that subscribe button and comment below on what you think of the Crow remake below. All support is appreciated. So it all started back in the summer of 1993. The idea for the movie was adapted from a comic book of the same name. Author James O'Barr wrote the book as a way to cope with the unexpected death of his fiancée, who was killed by a drunk driver. There were several different options to play the lead, but this part ended up going to Brandon Lee, a young up-and-coming actor and the son of Bruce Lee. The dark thriller was met with pretty favorable reviews and was one of the biggest openings for Miramax to date. Ended up becoming a cult classic for fans of the book and newcomers alike. But sadly, this is not the legacy that the movie is known for. It's the tragic death of the lead star that became associated with the title, even now, but we'll get to that very soon. On March 31st, 1993, tragedy struck during the filming of a scene where Brandon Lee's character was shot on set. The fatal accident occurred when actor Michael Massee fired a .44 Magnum revolver at Lee as part of the scene. It was revealed that 2 weeks prior, the prop crew had created their own dummy cartridges by disassembling live rounds and removing the powder charge but not the primer. Sadly, this led to a loaded primer detonating with enough force to actually shoot a bullet and tragically kill Lee. In the fatal scene, which called for the revolver to be actually fired from a distance of 12 to 15 feet, the dummy cartridges were exchanged for blank rounds, which feature a live powder charge and the primer that we just spoke about, but no bullet, thus allowing the gun to be fired without the risk of an actual projectile. As the production company had set the firearms specialist home early, responsibility for the guns was given to the prop assistant, who was unaware of the rule. Therefore, the barrel was not checked for obstructions when the time came to load in the blank rounds. Since the bullet from the dummy round was already trapped in the barrel, this caused the .44 Magnum bullet to be fired out of the barrel and ended up striking Lee in the abdomen and eventually killing him. So the production was plagued with the decision to continue filming or not. Lee had completed most of his scenes for the film and was scheduled to shoot for only 3 more days. The cast and crew then took a break for the script rewrites of the flashback scenes that had yet to be completed, and eventually they completed the movie. The tragic death left a hole in the hearts of the movie and the fans, and O'Barr, the author of the original book, later remarked that losing Lee was like losing his fiancée all over again, and he regretted ever even writing the comic in the first place. That's pretty deep. Fast forward 30 years later, and the story is yet again being adapted into a movie, this time being led by Bill Skarsgard and FKA Twigs as the leads. The movie has been in the works since 2008 actually, with multiple names being attached to it like Bradley Cooper, Luke Evans, Jack Huston, and Jason Momoa, among others. So obviously this has been in the works for a while, with a lot of different people coming in and out. So with the trailer dropping last week, there's already quite a bit of backlash, and one of the main targets is the lead character's look in the movie. The lead character, Eric Draven, has been replaced with what appears to be an amalgamation of Jared Leto's Joker and Machine Gun Kelly. He looks like he's about to start mumble rapping at any moment. The character is meant to be goth and more emo looking, with a pale white face and black makeup coming out from the sides, along with a big tattoo. Skarsgard's Crow is covered in tattoos and looks completely different. Not against studios or directors or actors making their own spin on it, but fans were not happy about this. With that in mind, Skarsgard's a solid actor and seems to be coming into the character in the trailer, at least so what it seems, but come on now, he looks like a mumble rapper. But that isn't the only backlash that the movie is getting. The original director of the 1994 version of The Crow had a strong opinion about the remake, and remaking the movie in general. In 2017, the director Alex Proyas wrote a heartfelt post on Facebook explaining why he thought the movie should never be remade. He said, "I did not take a film by credit on The Crow. I wanted it to be Brandon's movie, because it was, and because he would not be able to make any more movies after this. He brought all his passion to the movie, and has lasted as his legacy. The Crow would not be a movie worth remaking if it wasn't for Brandon Lee. If it wasn't for Brandon, you may never have even heard of this poignant little underground comic. It's Brandon's movie. I know sequels were made and TV shows and what have you, but the notion of rebooting the story and the original character seems wrong to me. Please let this remain Brandon's film." End quote. Unfortunately for Proyas, this request has not been honored, and we'll be seeing this remake released in June of this year. As you can imagine, Proyas broke his silence on this remake and explained his disdain for the movie once again. In a recent post he said, "And I'm certain the cast and crew really had good intentions, as we all do on any film. So it pains me to say any more on this topic, but I think the fans' response speaks volumes. The Crow is not just a movie. Brandon Lee died making it, and it was finished as a testament to his lost brilliance and tragic loss." The fans' response that he's referring to can be seen all over the comments of the trailer, as well as the abysmal like to dislike ratio on the video, with over 70,000 dislikes, probably more since the making of this video. It's in a combination of reboot fatigue mixed with the completely, shall I say, different look of the title character and the tragic legacy that the movie holds in the hearts of many fans with Lee's death. So here are my personal thoughts on the remake and the trailer. Personally, looking at it as a standalone trailer and movie, it actually doesn't look bad. Stylistically, it has a good look and vibe to it. Whether or not it's executed well, or it follows the source material well, is a different story. I could definitely see the backlash with the look of the character. I'm not a huge fan when they really try hard to make a character seem emo or dark and feel the need to include face tattoos to really hammer in the point. It's just very on the nose. The Crow himself without any of that is sinister looking enough. Plus, this goes hand in hand with the idea of unnecessary remakes and reboots. We're all tired of seeing it and always asking why. It's very rare that they actually end up being great or memorable at all. Besides stuff like Top Gun Maverick, reboots and requels, or whatever you want to call them, usually just end up being okay or decent enough to get a pass, and then forgotten with no actual impact on the audience in general. It's just a big cash grab, so hoping this one is different than that. We'll have to see what happens with this one, but let me know below what you think of the new Crow, and are you a fan of the original, and what do you think of the current trailer? If you like this content and made it this far, be sure to check out our other videos on the screen, and hit that subscribe button to stay up to date with the latest videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the theaters.